Out of the numerous ripple effects that were spilled out by the biggest trade this offseason, there's one team that emerged as the real winner, and that is the Portland Trail Blazers. Instead of accepting the trade package initially offered by the Heat, the Blazers remained patient and eventually got DeAndre Ayton in return via a three-way deal in the Lillard trade. Then, if that wasn't good enough, they forwarded Drew Holiday to Boston in a matter of days and flipped him in exchange for a monster rim protector in Robert Williams III. Along with their young nucleus of Sharp, Anfernee Simons, and Scoot Henderson, this new-look Blazers squad looks fun to binge-watch on demand next season with their youthful energy and athleticism. But before we take a deep dive at their entire roster, I want to specifically focus on their newest Twin Tower combo for now, and talk about how Ayton and Time Lord can be a force down low for the rebuilding Blazers. So, first, let's talk about DeAndre Ayton. The former number 1 overall pick back in 2018 came off a solid season averaging 18 points, along with 10 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 0.8 blocks on 58.9% shooting. Although this was not his best season, Ayton has consistently averaged a double-double and shot almost 60% from the field since he entered the league, which goes to show that he's actually a decent big man in contrast to what most people have been saying about him in the last couple of seasons. Well, speaking of that, Ayton has been labeled as soft by some fans and analysts alike because he tends to shy away from playing physical on most occasions. While the eye test proves this to be true to some extent, Ayton makes up for his lack of force by relying on his footwork and soft touch around the rim to make the defense pay. See, here's Ayton at the free throw line, and just observe how fluid he moves here as he escapes the defense with a turnaround J. And the same thing happened here. Ayton just cooked his defender with a shimmy before finishing him off with a smooth fadeaway. Being soft doesn't make Ayton less effective, and in fact, he's been actually killing it using short stabs and jump shots, because if you take a look at the advanced stats, Ayton shot 77.6% within less than 5 feet and 48.2% around the 5 to 9 feet range last season. Overall, he registered an effective field goal of 67.5% from less than 10 feet, while mostly using the jump shot as his primary offensive weapon. Now, hitting 15-foot jump shots is just one facet of his growing offensive game, because apart from this, Ayton can also deal damage during pick-and-roll situations in a variety of ways. See, in this delayed version of the Spain pick and roll, Ayton uses his wide frame to free up CP3 off the screen before running to the rim and slamming home the alley-oop. And when he's not diving inside, Ayton can simply settle for a mid-range jumper off a pick-and-pop action. Then, if he's neither running nor popping, Ayton can slide in the paint and take advantage of the switch by sealing the smaller defender for an easy deuce. As a roll man, Ayton only lags behind Joel Embiid in terms of points scored. And in post-up situations, Ayton actually ranks 9th in the league, beating the likes of Giannis, KD, Jaren Jackson Jr., and most notably, the guy he just replaced, which is Jusuf Nurkic. Anyway, since we already got Ayton covered, let's now move on to talk about Rob Williams III. Due to injuries, Time Lord only played 35 games and averaged 8 points and 8.3 rebounds a ball game last season. But despite the small sample size, what's impressive is that he was able to muster 1.4 blocks while making 74.7% of his shots from the field in limited court action. With Nurkic out of the equation, the Blazers will most likely rely on Williams III for his elite rim protection. And there were moments last season when he showed that he's capable of winning the Defensive Player of the Year award anytime soon with his eye-popping stops on the defensive end. Now, despite only standing at 6'9", the reason why Time Lord is such a great defender is because of his 40-inch vertical and 7'6" wingspan. Look at this play. You can see that Williams III was already late on the closeout here, but because of his length and athleticism, he was able to recover just in time to swat away Wainwright's shot all the way to the 5th row. Now, even if you're wide open, Time Lord can still close the gap with his reach and insane anticipation. And even though he's far away from the play, Williams III can provide help instantly, out of nowhere, just like what he did here against Giannis. You see in this graphic right here that Williams III is one of the better rollman defenders in the league, as he only allows 0.82 points on 0.6 possessions. And if you take a look at his defense by distance, Williams has kept his opponents shooting just below 40% from 5 feet and beyond, which is impressive given that his primary defensive coverage area is at the paint. While playing elite defense has always been his bread and butter, Williams III is also an efficient finisher around the rim. And when I say efficient, this man has never averaged below 70% shooting in his entire career, which means most of his shots come from lobs and easy feed from lane penetrations. See the Celtics run a Spain action here, and the moment Time Lord notices the gap, he quickly slips inside and throws down the alley-oop. And when he's not rim running towards the middle, you would find Williams III positioning himself at the dunker spot, waiting for an easy dish the moment the defense is broken down by the guards. It's quite evident that the Blazers have instantly filled the void Nurkic has left in the front court, with the addition of Ayton and Williams III. See, Ayton is a superior scorer than Nurkic, as the numbers show that he's statistically better in terms of effective field goal percentage, and putting up points from the foul line and in mid-range area. And as far as defense is concerned, Williams III boasts a 107 defensive rating while registering 1.4 blocks, as opposed to the slow-footed Nurkic, who only tallied a 114 defense rating last season, which means that Time Lord is a far better defender than Nurkic overall. Now, if we're going to take a look at the Blazers' depth chart for next season, there's a huge possibility that they'll unleash Henderson, Simons, and Sharp all at the same time as part of the starting lineup, while Jeremy Grant fills up the 4 spot and Ayton mans the center position. With 3 uber-athletic guards in this lineup, Ayton can definitely get easy buckets off pick and rolls or lane penetrations, with the attention that Henderson, Sharp, and Simons attract as legit scoring threats from anywhere around the court. Meanwhile, as a 40% shooter from deep, Jeremy Grant can stretch out the floor while Ayton does his thing from the inside. Now, although the chances of Ayton and Time Lord playing at the same time are very slim, due to the fact that the floor wouldn't be spaced that much because neither of them shoots threes, the Blazers may deploy this twin tower combo as a countermeasure if the opposing teams decide to big. And when that happens, Grant can then slide down at the 3 spot. Henderson plays the point, while Sharp and Simons fight it out at the shooting guard position. It's really interesting to see how the dynamics of both Ayton and Williams III will play out on both ends of the floor as part of the new look Blazers that is filled with young guns and high hopes. As they move on from the Damian Lillard era, the big question that lingers now is how fast can the Blazers turn things around with the young pieces that they currently have. But even if the turnaround time remains uncertain, having a solid nucleus of Henderson, Sharp, and Simons complemented by DeAndre Ayton and Rob Williams III at the front court is definitely a great way to start. The other 2 parties of the Lillard trade won also in their terms and needs. Check out our video about Dame's contribution to the Bucks, also the analysis of Phoenix's deep and complementary roster.